Hey, everybody. It's Allison Gill. Welcome to the breakdown. This weekend, federal agents from the Department of Homeland Security, we think Customs and Border Protection, though it's hard to tell if there were other agents mixed in there, have executed another American in Minneapolis. This time, 37-year-old Alex Preddy, an ICU nurse from the Department of Veterans Affairs, who was trying to protect a woman that had just been assaulted by Customs and Border Protection. So I'm going to go over how yesterday morning unfolded, along with a Customs and Border Protection internal memo shared with me exclusively by an anonymous source who works at Department of Homeland Security. And that memo makes riot control training mandatory for all Customs and Border Protection officers. We'll go over all of that on today's episode of The Breakdown. So yesterday morning, as you all know by now, another tragedy perpetrated by Stephen Miller and Greg Bovino's secret police unfolded in Minneapolis as Customs and Border Protection unloaded about 10 rounds into 37-year-old Alex Preddy as he lay on the ground. Now, I want to share how the morning unfolded. First, I was sent this video with the news that there had been another murder by federal agents in Minneapolis.
Too much, man, and they keep pushing people, you know?
Oh shit! What the fuck? They killed him? Did they fucking kill that guy? Are you fucking kidding me, dude? Not again! Are you fucking kidding me? That guy's dead. Yo, we need people on site.
Now, I screen captured that video to preserve it, and then I asked anyone on social media, on multiple social media platforms, if they had gotten the footage taken by the woman in the pink coat, the woman that you see here. Now, within about 20 minutes or so, I was sent a link to this video, which is seemingly the footage taken by the woman in the pink coat. Go! What the fuck is wrong with you? The fuck, people? The fuck is wrong with you? Honestly. What the fuck did you just do? What the fuck? What the fuck? Oh my god! 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 The fuck did you just do? The fuck did you just do? Somebody call the ambulance! Somebody call the ambulance! Somebody needs to call the ambulance! Somebody call 911! I can't believe they just did that! Holy shit! Holy shit! Just get come on! Come on!
Hey, go down!
Oh my god, you fucking people, man! You're fucking killing us! Why would you do that?
Oh my God! Oh my God! I can't believe I'm seeing this. I can't believe I'm seeing this. Oh my God! Come on! Come on! Come on! Come here! Come on! Come here! It is.
Now, it was around that time that Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara held a press conference. And during that presser, O'Hara said he was told by federal agents to stand down from investigating the scene, but that he ordered local law enforcement to secure the crime scene. Actually, I think what happened is that one of his local officers called O'Hara and said, "We've been told to leave." And O'Hara gave them the order to stay. And that the Minneapolis Police Department and that the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, the BCA in Minnesota, had been ordered to the scene. Now, O'Hara also said that the victim had a firearm, a 9mm, and was a lawful gun owner. It was a lawfully purchased firearm with a permit to carry it. And Chief O'Hara also said that it was multiple federal agents who shot the man and that they were investigating. And then came Gregory Bovino's statement. Here is a man who has been caught lying in court, lying to court, lying in declarations, lying about things that are caught on video multiple times, especially in Chicago in the courtroom of Judge Ellis. We've gone over all that here on previous episodes of the Breakdown on the Midas Touch Network. But this was Bovino's statement, and warning, because there's bullshit incoming.
During this operation, an individual approached U.S. Border Patrol agents with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. The agents attempted to disarm the individual, but he violently resisted. Fearing for his life and the lives and safety of fellow officers, a Border Patrol agent fired defensive shots. Medics on the scene immediately delivered medical aid to the subject, but the subject was pronounced dead at the scene. The suspect also had 2 loaded magazines and no accessible ID. This looks like a situation where an individual wanted to do maximum damage and massacre law enforcement.
I don't think there is a single true statement in that entire screed of propaganda. You'll notice, though, what stood out to me was that Bovino does not say the man was brandishing a weapon, as other agents and DHS folks and people from the administration had said earlier that this person brandished a weapon. Bovino said he came at officers and had a weapon. And the reason that they changed that very specific language is because he clearly wasn't brandishing a weapon. You could see it in the videos. And Bovino was actually asked about that and then dodged the question. Watch.
Did he have an additional gun, or was the gun moved from the scene? And I watched the video from start to finish of that woman who was wearing the red jacket, and it doesn't seem like he pulled the weapon at any point. So does the account come from the agent? Did they say that he pulled the gun before, during, after? When does the gun come out?
Again, this situation's evolving. This is under investigation. Those facts will come to light, but let's take a look at the gun. You can see the gun here on the screen there that individual possessed. It appears to be a semi-automatic, high-capacity type, possibly a Sig Sauer 9mm.
All right, no more questions. Sorry, no more questions.
There he is, admitting that the situation is still unfolding, yet putting out blanket statements saying this is for sure self-defense, and that these thugs murdered him because he's a domestic terrorist, as Stephen Miller said. They did it for self-defense. And that he confidently stated that this man was going to do maximum damage. He was prepared to do maximum damage to law enforcement and massacre law enforcement. And as I said, Stephen Miller had put out a statement on social media saying that Alex Preddy is a domestic terrorist. He's an ICU nurse at the Department of Veterans Affairs. I've worked with many like him. He spent his days helping veterans. Now, after that, I was sent a third video, and I screen capped that and put it on a hard drive. And watch, this is the video, the third video I was sent. Now, in this video, you can rewind it, watch it again, slow it down. You can clearly see that Alex Preddy was not brandishing a firearm. He was holding his phone, possibly filming. And he was putting his body between a federal agent and a woman that agent had just assaulted, just shoved with full force to the ground. And then you can see he is sprayed with a chemical agent. And then you can see very clearly that a federal agent in a gray coat reached into Preddy's waistband, disarmed him, and was carrying the weapon away when federal agents unloaded about 10 rounds into Preddy as he lay on the ground. He had been disarmed. The next thing that happened was that Carol Leonnig from MS Now reported that the Department of Homeland Security said that they were going to take control of the investigation from the FBI. So DHS is not even letting the FBI near this. And I'm wondering if that's because of the reporting we got last week or this past week that an FBI agent in Minneapolis had opened a civil rights investigation into the murder of Renee Good. She was then pressured by leadership in Washington, the office of Todd Blanche, to close her civil rights investigation into Jonathan Ross and open one into Renee Good herself. But a magistrate judge refused to sign that warrant against Renee Good, noting that Renee Good was already dead and could not be considered a suspect for a warrant. They tried, the Civil Rights Division in the Department of Justice tried to investigate Renee Good. We already knew they were investigating Becca, her partner, and her ties to, I don't know, peaceful protesters. But they actually tried to turn it around from Jonathan Ross and investigate Renee Good. But the judge said no. So this is just speculation. But if DHS is taking this investigation over from FBI, it seems like DHS doesn't even trust Kash Patel's FBI to cover this murder up properly. That says a lot. When you can't trust Kash Patel's FBI to cover up your murder. Now, Governor Walz then gave his press conference. And in it, he said that Minnesota's justice system will have to have the last word on what happened Saturday. Watch.
Take a listen to what he's saying.
This federal occupation of Minnesota long ago stopped being a matter of immigration enforcement. It's a campaign of organized brutality against the people of our state. And today that campaign claimed another life. I've seen the videos from several angles, and it's sickening. But I have a strong statement here for our federal government. Minnesota's justice system will have the last word on this. It must have the last word. As I told the White House in no uncertain terms this morning, the federal government cannot be trusted to lead this investigation. The state will handle it, period.
I hope he's right. And I hope local prosecutors do handle this investigation, because we already know what the outcome of DHS's investigation will be. They've already given it, even though Bovino had to go back and say, well, we're still investigating. Are you? Now, after that press conference, that's when we learned the identity of the murder victim, Alex J. Preddy. As I said, an ICU nurse at the Department of Veterans Affairs, a member of the American Federation of Government Employees, a union of government employees, who released the following statement. Quote, "We have received confirmation that a member of AFGE Local 3669, Alex J. Preddy, was the man killed during the incident. At this time, many of the details remain unclear. Video of the incident is circulating on social media, and the Department of Homeland Security has publicly stated the victim was brandishing a weapon at officers. However, based on the video currently available, that claim is not clearly established. We just recently discovered that the officer involved was a Border Patrol officer, and we are still not certain if he was a member of the AFGE. This is an unfolding and extremely serious matter. Until we have verified facts, it's important that we refrain from speculation or drawing conclusions. What we do know is this: a member of our union lost their life today, and that alone is devastating. Our hearts are heavy, and we're deeply stricken by this tragedy that has befallen one of our own. Until more information becomes available, I urge everyone to remain calm and encourage peace and restraint in all communications and actions. We will continue to monitor the situation closely and will share additional information as soon as we are able to confirm it." I'm certain that more videos, more information will come out over the coming days and weeks. And let's talk about the DHS funding bill that passed the House. 7 Democrats voted for it. They didn't need all 7 to vote for it, but those 7 did vote for it. I posted those 7 over on my Blue Sky account at Mueller, She Wrote. And even though blocking this DHS funding bill, they pulled DHS out separately, blocking this DHS funding bill in the Senate would not defund ICE. And the reason it wouldn't is because the big ugly bill, which no Democrats voted for, has this $75 billion slush fund for ICE that funds ICE at double its capacity through the end of Trump's term, regardless of a government shutdown. But despite that, I don't think anyone should be voting to give them any additional funding. I personally don't believe ICE and Customs and Border Protection can be reformed. And we can't rescind the big ugly bill and that $75 billion slush fund until we take back control of Congress. But I'll be looking for and supporting candidates who campaign on dismantling DHS, impeaching those responsible, holding these murderers accountable. Now, the 7 Democratic senators that usually vote yes on these funding bills include Fetterman, Cortez Masto, Jackie Rosen, Shaheen Hassan, Angus King, and Dick Durbin. But yesterday, and this actually surprised me a little bit, Cortez Masto said she'd be voting no. She put out this statement, quote, "The Trump administration and Kristi Noem are putting undertrained combative federal agents in the streets with no accountability. They are oppressing Americans and are at odds with local law enforcement. This is clearly not about keeping Americans safe. It's brutalizing U.S. citizens and law-abiding immigrants. I will not support the current Homeland Security funding bill. We have a bipartisan agreement on 96% of the budget. We already passed 6 funding bills. Let's pass the remaining 5 bipartisan bills and fund essential agencies while we continue to fight for a Department of Homeland Security that respects Americans' constitutional rights and preserves federal law enforcement's essential role to keep us safe." Without Masto, Republicans need 7. They have 53 in the Senate. They need 60 to pass this funding bill. They need 7 Democrats. And those 7 Democrats that usually support these things, Masto is one of them, Cortez Masto, she's a no. And that effectively kills this bill, the DHS funding bill in the Senate. And then that wasn't all, though. Another one of those 7 Republicans, or excuse me, another one of those 7 Democrats that usually votes yes on this, slip of the tongue there, calling them Republicans, but hey, if the shoe fits. Now, Jackie Rosen put out the following statement as well. "The abuses of power we are seeing from ICE in Minneapolis and across the country are un-American and cannot be normalized. No one wants criminals in our country, but that's not who this administration is going after. They're targeting law-abiding immigrants who just want to support their families and live the American dream. They're going after immigrants who have asylum or other forms of legal protections to be in the country. They're going after U.S. citizens who disagree with their tactics. And in less than a month, 2 of our fellow Americans in Minneapolis have been killed as a result. Enough is enough. We need to rein in ICE's out-of-control conduct. As a member of the U.S. Senate, I have responsibility to hold the Trump administration accountable when I see abuses of power like we're seeing from ICE right now. That is why I will be voting against any government funding package that contains the bill that funds this agency until we have guardrails in place to curtail these abuses of power and ensure more accountability and transparency. My personal guiding principle has always been agree where you can and fight where you must. And I believe this is a time when we must fight back. So again, without Cortez Masto, Democrat Cortez Masto, and Democrat Jackie Rosen, this DHS funding bill is, like I said, effectively dead in the Senate. Yeah, as you know, and I've said this on social media, the big ugly bill funds ICE at double its current capacity through the end of 2028, so they will carry on. I don't know how to attack that until we get a hold of Congress, but it is good to see these senators fight back. Also this week, the day before the murder of Alex Preddy in Minneapolis, an anonymous source, a Customs and Border Protection employee, sent me the following memo. Effective immediately, all Customs and Border Protection officers, regardless of grade or rank, are required to complete the Mobile Field Force Training Program, MFFTP Level 2, in its entirety. In addition, field offices and directorates are responsible for ensuring all personnel complete the annual MFF Level 2 recertification, as outlined in the Office of Field Operations Mobile Field Force Directive. Mobile Field Force teams are specialized units trained to respond rapidly to situations requiring crowd control, public order maintenance, and emergency support. These teams provide CBP with a flexible and scalable response for incidents such as civil disturbances, protests, natural disasters, or any event requiring an enhanced law enforcement presence. These units can be deployed quickly at both the local and national levels to assist field offices, ports of entry, or to support other law enforcement agencies as needed. The Special Operations Division within the OFO Operations Directorate is responsible for overseeing and managing the MFF program within the OFO. Level 2 training includes agents being exposed to CS gas. This training used to be voluntary until January 14th. On January 14th, as of January 14th, the day that memo was sent, it's effective immediately. It is now mandatory for all Customs and Border Protection agents. Crowd control, riot gear, shield training, less lethal specialty impact chemical munitions certification. That's all mandatory now for every Customs and Border Protection agent. And all of this, as we learn that last May, DHS instructed ICE officers to ignore their training manuals, ignore the Fourth Amendment, and use force to enter homes without a proper warrant. And with little to no legal remedy against that violation of our Fourth Amendment rights, because the Supreme Court has been chipping away at our ability to bring civil complaints against federal agents, it kind of becomes a little more clear why we've seen video of these federal agents ramming in doors without a judicial warrant. And honestly, until someone is held accountable, I think these incidents, these murders will continue. So call your senators, especially if it's one of those 5 who haven't said they'll vote no, although they may have while I've been recording this, but I know that we feel a little helpless right now, but there are things we can do to stand up and fight. So thank you. Cameras out, everyone. Cameras out, America. Thanks for watching The Breakdown.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to add the Midas Touch podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts for new updates every single day.